From multiple UFO sightings to a very familiar dress, today I'm going to show you 10 brand new Easter eggs added to the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy, the Definitive Edition. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. Some of these Easter eggs aren't as cool as a happy Easter egg, or you aren't supposed to be able to get here, you know, but nonetheless, they are new, they are in the Trilogy Definitive Edition, and I can't wait to show them to you. So if you enjoy, be sure to leave a like for the algorithm, join the channel by hitting that clucking bell and help us get to 1 million subscribers, and be sure to watch the video the whole way through because the last Easter egg is pretty freaking awesome. Before taking a look at all these Easter eggs, I just want to be as transparent as possible with y'all and let you know that I use the term Easter egg loosely. And as much as I love covering Easter eggs, it took a lot for me to consider making this video because in the Trilogy Definitive Edition, a lot of these so-called Easter eggs are just reused assets and textures from Grand Theft Auto 5. For instance, inside the garage at Claude's safe house, there are lots of assets from Grand Theft Auto 5 that you might be familiar with. And while those aren't Easter eggs, some of the Easter eggs that we do cover, you might consider to not be an Easter egg. So it's just up to you as a person. First up, and actually going in chronological order from Grand Theft Auto 3 to Vice City and then San Andreas, we have the Bloody Choppers movie poster. So, can any of you guess where this is from? If you can't, it's actually a location in Red Dead Redemption 2. So, this Easter egg is of a secret from another Rockstar game, which I thought was pretty neat. So, in Red Dead Redemption 2, you can actually come across an old tomb north of Annesburg, and there's a Viking hatchet. You can get a secret weapon there. But the Easter egg in Grand Theft Auto 3 on that poster comes on a rock right next to that table, that platform with the skeleton, and there is where you could find the hatchet just hammered into the skull of whoever this unfortunate person was. And this specific image is what was used in Grand Theft Auto 3 for the Bloody Choppers movie. Moving on to Vice City, we're actually headed to the mall, where inside you can find in one of the stores, the Vinyl Countdown store to be specific, the definitive guide to Vice City. And, well, when you take a look at this definitive guide to Vice City, it's funny because it matches the quality of the definitive edition. You see that, well, that's not Vice City. Those images are actually of Guarma. There are two separate books, and on those books, again, these images, the background scenes are just shots of Guarma, which I thought was pretty interesting, but Guarma's a beautiful place, don't get me wrong, but man, couldn't they have just used images from Vice City? A little bit of clickbait and misleading there, right? As some of y'all would write in the comments. Jokes aside, the next two Easter eggs are actually going to be in the same location at the mall. So we can find Michael's jacket from North Yankton. The outfit he wears in the prologue, he wears a red plaid jacket, and that can actually be found inside of the Gash store, which is a parody of the Gap store. And while you can't purchase this jacket or use it, and again, this is one of those reused assets, it is still neat because it's Michael's jacket. It's another GTA protagonist right there in the 3D universe. The next Easter egg, once again, has to do with another protagonist's article of clothing. This one, however, is a bit more interesting, if you ask me, and it's actually Trevor's dress. That's right. It can be found in multiple storefronts in the mall, and if you're not familiar with this dress from Grand Theft Auto 5, well, here it is. This is the dress. This was funny. I saw this and it just made me laugh simply because it's Trevor and this dress of all things. A lot of fans in the mall when looking through probably instantly recognized this. And if you didn't, well, here you go. Number 5, as we transition to GTA San Andreas, where the rest of the Easter eggs are and where there's a plethora, the first one actually comes pretty early in the game, and it's in the Mission Rider, which I believe is like the second mission. And you can actually see in the background of this cutscene an image from O'Crea's run in Red Dead Redemption 2, which is pretty neat. Again, you could consider this a reused asset, but fun fact for you, this image of O'Crea's Run, the O'Crea's Run area is actually a tribute to Uncle's voice artist, John O'Crea. He voiced Uncle in Red Dead Redemption 1, and unfortunately, he passed away during the first half of Red Dead Redemption 2's development in 2016. And as a tribute to Uncle and his actor, or his voice artist, John O'Cray. That's why O'Cray's run was named after him. So I thought that was a fun fact that y'all might not have known. And whether or not this was or wasn't added to the GTA Trilogy Definitive Edition as a tribute to Uncle, as a fan of Rockstar games and a lot of their content and Easter eggs and secrets and just how deep they go with things, I would like to still think of this as a tribute to Uncle, one of my favorite characters in Red Dead Redemption. Number 6, CJ's Garage. So inside of CJ's Garage, we can find a painting, and that painting is actually inside of Michael's house in the foyer. Right when you walk in, you can find that painting sitting right there. And this can also be found in the Vice City Mall as well. I didn't want to consider two of the same Easter eggs, separate Easter eggs. So again, this can be found in Vice City too. Number 7, Zero's RC Shop. He might have given us one of the hardest missions in the GTA series, but he does have one of the coolest spots, stores, and locations. And when you go in the store, you can actually find tons of Easter eggs. A lot of these Easter eggs have been around since the original San Andreas, like the Tommy and Lance Vance figures, or the Manhunt figures, or all the little RC cars. Those are just things from other Grand Theft Auto games. But the new Easter egg is of Impotent Rage. You can find him in 2 different spots in this store, and Impotent Rage is a superhero of Grand Theft Auto, and you can actually find his action figure in there. And we get to see him in Grand Theft Auto 5, obviously, or if you're not familiar with that, he is in GTA 5. You can buy his outfit, and you can actually see him. So it is a pretty nice addition to see him now in Zero's RC Shop with the rest of these figures of some of our favorite Grand Theft Auto characters. Number 8, don't leave Zero's RC Shop just yet because we have another Easter egg, and this one can actually be seen right behind the counter, and it's Mr. Raspberry Jam. Now, who is this? Well, this teddy bear, if you don't recall, is from the Floyd missions in GTA 5, where Trevor can actually interact with this bear. He does some things to it, and then in the end, he ends up throwing it on the grill of his truck. So that's Mr. Raspberry Jam, and you can find him, again, behind the counter in Zero's RC Shop. So this one is pretty neat as well. Number 9, the Gant Bridge Facts. While I have already talked about this in a prior video, I wanted to mention it in this video because it is an Easter egg, and outside of the Gant Bridge, you can actually find some facts about the bridge, including the textures that it took to create this bridge, the models, polygons, things like that. But compared to the original San Andreas, the facts have been updated. Some of the numbers that have to do with those, the disk space and things like that, but also the fact that 3 babies were born during the construction of this bridge, or during the construction of the Trilogy Definitive Edition. While I'm not sure of that, if there really were 3 babies born during this game development, it's a beautiful thing. And it makes for a nice comical addition to the Gant Bridge Facts. And lastly, number 10, best for last, and probably my favorite Easter egg, is at the Lil Probe Inn, just outside of Area 69. So in case you didn't know, this specific location is inspired by the real-life Little Alien in outside of real life Area 51. And going inside of this building here in San Andreas, we can find some updated images featuring UFO sightings in Red Dead Redemption 2 and Grand Theft Auto 5. You see multiple images plastered all over the walls of these UFO sightings. And while this didn't really happen in Grand Theft Auto 5 and RDR2, we do know that there are UFOs in those games, but it is nice to see the addition of these new updated images in this spot. And real quick, I just want to throw this one in here as well. I didn't know whether or not to consider this an Easter egg, but in the Vice City Mall, we can see in one of the storefronts, way in the background, there's an image of Claude from Grand Theft Auto 3. So again, wasn't sure if this was technically an Easter egg or not, and I wasn't sure if it was originally there. But in case you didn't know, now you know. Well, those are 10 brand new Easter eggs added into the Grand Theft Auto Trilogy Definitive Edition. If you're an Easter egg hunter like myself, you might have thought these were okay. They probably could have been better, but nonetheless, they're still new and they're now added to the game. So if you enjoyed, be sure to join the channel. That way you never miss out on another upload, and help a brother out. Spread some cheese on a broke cracker by clicking thumbs up. Thank y'all so much for tuning in, and also thank y'all so much for the amazing support on my GTA Trilogy videos.